Thank you, Stephen. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Fork. We have a bit of an echo. From East Hampton to Riverhead and Shelter Island, we worship and reside on the ancestral lands of the Montaukett, the Shinnecock, the Korchog, and the Manhasset. We take this time to acknowledge the Native people who claimed this land as home before European colonization. We honor generations of their care and stewardship with this land and with all other beings who share this land. And we honor our relationship with our Shinnecock neighbors today in their continued struggles for sovereignty and justice. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you vote, wherever you are on your life's journey, whatever your name for the sacred, you are very welcome here. My name is Pamela Wittenberg. Today, your worship leaders are Tuna Flores on Zoom, Ken Ettlinger, and myself. We extend a special welcome to those of you who may be new to our congregation or to Unitarian Universalism. We hope that you will feel free to ask questions and to come again. As a reminder to us all, please silence your phones or mute yourself on Zoom until you need to share something. You can also message someone on chat. This morning, we are thankful to have Stephen Skolberg as our musician. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you to our technicians, Pamela Wittenberg at the computer, and Monica Sasada behind the camera, and Kent Martin also on the computer. Our pastor, the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson, who is usually in our pulpit several times a month, is on sabbatical through June. As always, we strive to bring you inspiring Sunday services by lay-led leaders and members of our worship team, like Tuna, Ken, and me, and guest speakers. Before we begin our service, a delicate balance. Please take a moment to notice this week's announcements. I don't know if we have any this week. Carl, no? You can find more information about how to connect to this week's and other week's announcements in your e-bulletin. And you can get announcements that you would like announced to the congregation to our administrator by Tuesday of the week you would like them announced. Are there any brief announcements any of you would like to share? Okay, anyone on Zoom?
I put something in the chat. I can say it now. At Consett Park in April, there's a wilderness survival event. It's $4 plus $8 to park. Anyhow, just let you know.
Thank you.
Introduction to wildness.
Thank you. There's an order of service online if you would like, and those in the room have one in hand. Our opening is with Sue Penny, who will also light our chalice.
Good morning. I bring these beautiful words by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Our first hymn will be What Wondrous Love. Steve is at the piano. The words will be on your screen. Please sing along on mute if you're at home, and keep your mask on and sing loud if you're here.
Wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul. What wondrous love is this, O my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's crown, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end, I will sing.
Thank you, Stephen. Ken Ettlinger, Tuna, Flores, and I will be presenting our personal experiences on balance, which is our theme for the month of March. March is also Women's History Month, which began in Santa Rosa, California in 1978 and has since become known internationally. Both UUism and Women's History Month, and even the upcoming Earth Day in April, are a reminder to me of the sacrifices made by generations who have shaped our progress and strengthened our character as people. For my talk, I am holistically merging balance with Women's History Month as a UU and as a woman who grew up in California. The Reverend Sherry Halliday Kwan of the First Unitarian Church of Brooklyn wrote in a sermon she gave in February 2018 that some world religions affirm that our bodies, minds, and spirits are equally holy and good, but only for some and only under certain conditions. She stated that Unitarian Universalism as a religion reaffirms and nurtures this balance between mind, body, and spirit, and our connection to the environment by making them equally and unconditionally holy and good. How were we ever so lucky to discover UUism and its commitment to addressing this unconditional equality? And why is this balance so important? Because it is so easy to forget. The messages that are out there in so many other places do not affirm the equality between our minds, bodies, and spirits, and the impact we have on the environment and our relationships to each other. Sexism, racism, ageism, anti-Semitism, heterosexism, ableism, classism, anti-feminism, anti-naturism, anti-environmentalism, not to mention the social stigmas of all kinds. By virtue of my being born a female, where and when I was into an unconventional and progressive family, I was fortunate to be given important tools early on that helped me to overcome many of these ism messages that I just mentioned. What comes to mind for me is my own coming of age story in San Diego, starting when I was 10 or 12 years old, that eventually led me to becoming a UU. On most summer weekends, my family and I often went to a 2-mile strip of beach known as Black's Beach and joined other nakes, or those without clothing. There were young and old, dark and light, all different shapes and sizes, couples and singles, gay and straight, men and women, babies and children, musicians, and those wet and sandy dogs that would come barreling and wiggling onto our towels asking to play. I remember feeling the harmony and balance within myself, with others, and with nature, definitely like that feeling in the Mary Oliver poem, The Summer Day, read by Sue Penny, that this was my wild and precious life. I am not claiming that we were shaping history there on Black's Beach, but we were one way of expressing gender equality, respect, and acceptance in our human relationships, of responsibly claiming the right to our own bodies, minds, and spirits, of being completely in touch with nature, of finding that safe expression to nurture a healthy self-esteem, and of changing the conventional biblical narrative about our bodies at the get-go. Black's Beach exposed me to a lifestyle that was inherently balance-centric. Through it, I embraced naturism, defined as a way of life in harmony with nature, characterized by the practice of communal nudity with the intention of encouraging self-respect, respect for others, and for the environment. By the time I turned 18 in 1977, it became unlawful to unclothe at Black's Beach. For a while, we interpreted unlawful to mean that whatever it was we were doing, quote unquote, was not expressly authorized. For the first time in my life, I witnessed officers slowly driving up the beach. But by the time he or she arrived, we would all be dressed. Ironically, along with this unlawfulness came a new crowd of behavioral risk takers with cameras, making unwanted solicitations and causing other unpleasant altercations, which eventually and sadly led to a loss of this close community as I knew it. My family stopped going there, but soon my sisters and I, through our various social networks, found another clothing optional place in the mountains of San Diego, coincidentally named Three Sisters. I went on to get a degree in environmental studies, where I first learned about greenhouse gases 35 years ago, and here we are. Happily, this experience led my way to Carl in the back, who at the time was in a PhD program in environmental engineering at Stanford, and also volunteering at Restoring the Earth in Berkeley. Carl invited me to live in an urban, intentional, environmentally conscious, naturist commune in Palo Alto that is still going strong today after 50 years as a model educational institution that teaches classes at Stanford University on sustainability and all that entails. They walk the talk, not so easy, and have passed on this lifestyle to many generations, including their own children, daughters, and sons, who in turn are teaching others. Fast forward, eventually this led both Carl and me to UU. We both naturally connected to Unitarian Universalism. Certainly, our experiences influence our enthusiasm for our children to participate in the UUA's, Unitarian Universalist Association's, Coming of Age and Our Whole Lives programs when they turned 12 and 13. These UU programs exposed our youth to the importance of a mind, body, and spirit balance and this unconditional acceptance. As the Reverend Sherry Halliday Kwan concluded in her sermon, Remembering this connection can act as a bulwark to sustain and to encourage us. This delicate balance between the mind, body, and spirit in connection with the environment is a primal and sacred part of our being that is worth our attention, especially because we are Unitarian Universalists. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. The next hymn is number 95, if you have your songbook, your hymnal. There is more love somewhere. Stephen at the piano, words on your screen.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Thank you, Stephen. We support the work of this congregation in many ways, and while we are meeting online, you can still contribute by PayPal or by check. Your financial contributions help to support the ongoing work of this congregation, including worship, religious exploration, and pastoral support. And your generosity is reflected in the ways that we are able to show up in our community for justice and community care. Our Helping Hands Fund provides support to local organizations, and our Minister's Discretionary Fund provides support to individuals in need. You can contribute right now using PayPal with your link on the screen or in the chat. You can also send a check made out to the UUCSF and mail it to our PO box. Please make sure that you put Sunday offering in the memo line. Now, while Stephen at the guitar is going to play Here Comes the Sun, we also have baskets and John, we actually have 3 ways that you can contribute your money. You can choose which one. And one is, what are all 3? They're labeled. John? Food pantry? Helping hand? Okay, so John's going to come around with Sunday service, and then there are 2 baskets, and you can get up and contribute to those if you would like. Stephen?
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice slowly melting. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
My gosh, thank you. Now is the time in our community when we share the joys, sorrows, and concerns of our hearts. If you have a joy or concern to share, please be brief. If you're on Zoom, unmute yourself and share your name. If you are joining from the phone, you can unmute yourself by pressing *6. You can also share your joy or concern in the chat. Those here in the meeting house can also come up and light a candle in silent thought, or raise your hand and I will bring the microphone to you and Pam will light the candle. Well, good morning. In this society, we are generally taught that naked is wrong. Missionaries have been trying to civilize people around the world for ages by getting them to cover up. I'm pretty sure that it has to do with the Bible, the story of Adam and Eve, shame, and original sin. And then there is the pervasive but mistaken view that nudity and sex are synonymous. Indeed, according to desiringgod.com, my go-to source for the interpretation of the Bible, the primary reason we wear clothing is to confess to the original sin. God ordains clothes to witness the glory we have lost. Call me a skeptic. Me, I have no original sin. I am a you. I think the Garden of Eden is right here, all around us, if you look. I have no shame. I am a nudist. Naked is, after all, who we are under this veil of clothing. We are born naked, and I am almost positive that all of you have been naked on occasion. My nudist friends tell me that their cares and concerns drop away with their clothing. I get it. I was at Gunnison Beach on Sandy Hook, New Jersey before COVID, the only legal clothing optional public beach in the Northeast. I sat with a group of veterans, most who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, who met up once a week to play beach volleyball and hang out with one another in the sunshine. We were all naked. The veterans do not hide their scarred bodies. What you don't see, they express by the stories they share of returning home from their tour and finding it hard to fit in again, coping with depression and even suicidal thoughts. I wouldn't be alive if I didn't find this place of acceptance, was voiced by one. In times of crisis, I believe being with kindred souls can offer a psychological lifeline. Nudity can also be therapeutic. You see, nudists can't hide behind clothing. They bare their bodies and they bare their souls. Nudists look each other directly in the eyes when they talk. They see the person beyond the clothing, beyond the imperfect body. There is vulnerability, and there is also a profound openness. The theme of worship this month has been balance. So many people are so stressed. You can see it on their faces. Mental health issues are epidemic. When those emotions we feel at the moment, grief, sorrow, pain, regret, anger, loneliness, become despair, we may just fail to see the endless possibilities that life offers. We can't seem to reconnect to the joy. It is so easy to lose balance. There are no instruction manual for this precious life. We don't even get a warranty. We are all just winging it, learning as we go. Sometimes we figure out what works, and sometimes we don't. For me, nudity works. Now, Pam was born into nudity. Actually, aren't we all? But unlike Pam, my parents made me put on clothing. I never had that kind of free childhood that Pam had. Sometimes it takes a major life event to change directions when you need to. And sometimes that direction will lead you way out of your comfort zone. It's good to step out of your comfort zone every once in a while. It may lead to something wonderful. It did for me. At one time, I could not imagine that I would feel comfortably nude, working and playing, nonchalantly hanging out with a bunch of naked people. It turns out that the thought of nudity is scarier than nudity itself. Once I decided to take off my clothes, I ran, and I never looked back. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but we do know that our life is finite, and that there is a world beyond the walls we sometimes build for ourselves and often can't climb over. Each day needs to be lived intentionally. A nudist will simply skinny dip at the beach because walking around with a wet and sandy bathing suit is not usually fun. I am a naturist, like Pam. It is more of a philosophical choice. It is a lifestyle that gets worked out the longer you spend outside your clothing. Naturalists like me feel that being naked is the natural order. Removing your clothing can reverse entrenched beliefs society teaches us and allows you to reconnect to your body in a different way. A lot of people associate the act of undressing or being naked with sexual behavior. The nudist, on the other hand, associates the naked body with volleyball. Nudists have significantly higher self-esteem and body confidence than the general population. When you're naked, there is this paradox, the realization of how much we are the same in spite of being so different. You are more than your size. You are more than your physical appearance, more than your clothing, more than your possessions. Social classes don't exist when you're naked. There's only one dress code. You are uniquely you. Solaire Recreation League is the name of my nudist camp in Woodstock, Connecticut, on the Massachusetts border. Our camp is one of the first of its kind in America and dates back to 1934. It was born out of the European free body movement, the idea that exposure to the sunshine, exercise, and fresh air have curative powers. Solaire is collectively owned by its members. We take care of it. We know the empowerment of bonding by work and common purpose, and the importance of being in nature. My cabin at Solaire is on a granite ledge overlooking the Lebanon River at the very edge of a vast forest of hemlock and white pine. I can walk naked for miles. At camp, we have black bears and river otters, pileated woodpeckers, and flying squirrels. I have a 6-foot-long black snake who lives under my porch, feeding on the field mice and chipmunks, of which I have more than one really needs, as house companions. At night, I listen to the coyotes howling in the distance and owls hooting right outside my door. I purchased my cabin from Joella and David, Unitarians and naturalists from Boston. Out of the several hundred families who live here or vacation at camp, there are a disproportionate number of UUs, perhaps because we know that there's no sin in being naturally naked. Perhaps because our Unitarian roots come out of the Transcendentalist movement led by Emerson and Thoreau, who praise the spiritual value of being immersed in nature. Maybe nudity is a Unitarian thing. You know, we're just fellow travelers in the wilderness, each on our own spiritual journey. Come join us. Clothing is optional. I was influenced by the words of Henry David Thoreau, who wrote in one of his lesser known works, "I cannot be naked enough." I'm sure President Joe Biden uttered similar words when one of his female Secret Service agents expressed displeasure in having to watch him swimming each morning. Not the first president to prefer swimming naked. I will not tell you to get naked. You would probably say, that is just crazy talk. Not me, never. But there are lessons that I have learned as a nudist that might help you in your non-naked life. Number one, when I am at Solaire, I feel more alive, whether hiking in the woods or swimming in the lake. When I am at camp, it is where I belong. Part of my DNA tells me that there still is a naked ape inside these clothes yearning to escape. Solaire is where I connect to my evolutionary past. Naked or not, if we isolate ourselves too much from nature, we are more apt to be depressed. Long Island is a wondrous place to explore nature. There are woodlands and wetlands, and of course, the infinite ocean at our doorstep. Number two, Solaire was founded to provide recreational opportunities for its members. Being physically active each day helps promote restful sleep needed for clarity of mind, making better decisions, easier life choices. Every weekend, members lead yoga and meditation. I lead a drumming circle on many summer evenings. Camp is like a vacation for some. Maybe that's the appeal to even those working residents of Solaire who leave for their jobs in the morning and return in the evening. You too can live life like every day is a vacation. It requires making a conscious allocation of time. Naked or not, exercise and ample rest is critical, as is a balance between work and play. Plan something special or a bit out of the ordinary for each day. Increase your activity level and lower your stress. Number three, life in my camp moves at a slow pace. Once at camp, we leave our cars and our clothing packed and parked. Usually we travel around camp on foot. Since we're outside every day, every sunny day, we seldom walk very far before running into our neighbors, and there will be kind words and friendly smiles. It's hard to feel isolated. Naked or not, people need people, and there is no better antidepressant than a community where people are willing to attentively listen to one another, and there are opportunities to do so. It helps to get out of your house, establish a walking routine, and make friends with the people along the way. Number 4, at camp, we are less apt to be on social media. Cameras, cell phones, laptops are not allowed in public areas. A positive psychological benefit is that the screens that we have become so tethered to prevents us from connecting with the kind of meaningful, genuine relationships that matter. Naked or not, life is too short if you are fretting and comparing yourself or your life to others, or if you spend too much time glued to technology. The real world awaits the real you. Number 5, Solaire is a community. We are tribal in the sense that we share a common bond. We even have communities within this community. Solaire is affiliated with ANAR, a national nudist organization. Women in Nudism is a chapter of ANAR and is very active at my camp. They promote a positive body image because a lot of women and girls wrestle with the unrealistic social pressure to conform with some artificial ideal from the media. They discuss the events of their lives, their personal challenges, and they're there for one another. Naked or not, community matters. Number 6, while there aren't any equivalent males in nudism group at camp, we face our own insecurities. I think it is a feeling universal across the sexes. Keep your body as healthy and fit as you can, but don't fret over your appearance. Marvel at your imperfections. Nudists learn the importance of being comfortable with who we are, both in mind and in body. Nudist or not, our bodies are like variety in art. Color, lines, shapes, brushwork. The human body can be appreciated and marveled for what it is, but your body is only a part of who you are. Number 7, for me, whether here on Long Island or at my camp at Solaire, I need the warmth of the sun, the caress of a breeze against my skin, and the sand or forest floor under my bare feet. Nudist life is sensual. Our skin is our largest sensory organ with a multitude of nerve endings. We mute our skin by covering it up. We all need sunshine to make vitamin D, which so many people are deficient in. Vitamin D boosts one's immunity. It also stimulates those feel-good hormones our body releases. Maybe it is the reason nudists rank highest on the happiness scale. Being naked in the sun is exhilarating, maybe even addictive. Nudist or not, use sunscreen, but get out into the sunshine. Weather permitting, reduce your clothing to your comfort level. I don't know how you might find balance in your life. Balance is not always easy, but I think if you find yourself about to stumble, you need to shift your weight on your shoulders, maybe chart a different course. You have an invitation to come and visit me at my cabin anytime you feel off balance. You can run free, you can be naked, no one will care, no one will stare. But in the meantime, you can still find your own personal Woodstock. Part of that is right here in this community of precious friends. The wildness right outside those windows and the choices you make for a healthy, satisfying life. And you don't have to undress to de-stress. Please sing along with the hymn, Just as Long as I Have Breath, as Stephen plays it at the piano.
Just Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Good morning and hello. Well, I guess I'm the third speaker, so I have to do a little cleanup here. Let's first, since we just had a hymn that was started with our breath, let's look at our breath for a moment. Let's everybody sit up in our seats, sit back, comfortable. Let's take a big, nice breath in. Big exhale out. Big breath in. Big breath out. This is nature's way of balancing us. We balance ourselves naturally, constantly, automatically, day and night, by breathing in and out. And of course, when you've had a stressful moment, what's the advice? Just sit back and take a breath. Take a breath, take a few deep breaths. It's a way of balancing us very simply, almost primally. So I wanted to point that out and just sort of give you a tool to remember. Even if you have all your clothes on, you can still take a deep breath. And it is a bit humorous because I think the three of us were chosen or got together for today's service because we all have had experiences of clothing optional or nudist or whatever you want to call it. I've done the swimming in Hawaii. I was at a nudist colony in Jersey, and okay. But as I sat back and thought about my experience of no clothing, I recalled my time when I was, doing some work for the Museum of Natural History and living in the Amazon, living with tribes that actually really didn't have clothing, for whom clothing optional was their way of life. And in fact, usually when we would arrive at a village, they would have some clothing on because the missionaries had come by and given them some. But otherwise, they would look at us and they thought we were pretty weird. We had clothes, we had shoes. They didn't even know what shoes really were. But in terms of today's issue, today's topic, I realized that group in the Amazon, those tribes in the Amazon were the most imbalanced people I've ever met. They had no metal. They were living literally in the Stone Age. They created no waste. Anything that they did was biodegradable. They made all their implements out of wood. When they hunted, if there were 3 or 4 wild cijinos available to take, they would take 1 or 2 because they had no refrigerators. They would only take what they could eat immediately. They lived in actual, true, perfect harmony with nature, in balance, and had done so for hundreds of generations. And while I enjoyed that time, took some great photos, and I did come back to civilization, I did note that my experience there was with the only people I've actually ever seen in my entire life that truly live in 100% balance with their surroundings and with each other. And I say with each other because in a village, it's essentially an extended family. And if a child fell and started crying, whoever was the closest woman would pick him up and comfort him or her. So I have seen that level of balance. And I'm not sure how we're going to sort of duplicate that in our world. It is possible, I think, to strive for that. And as Tina Curran will talk about, because she teaches the Tai Chi, she talks about strength through softness. It is possible to try and have some kind of balance. But balance is not something you find, it's something you have to create. And a special challenge for Unitarians. Not because we're good at it. I think we are good at it. But we have committed to it on a very, very huge scale. We've chosen a faith, a religion, unlike most others. We have principles, not dogma, not beliefs. To fulfill our ideal, we must create a balance within ourselves and within our congregation and those around us. And we have to accept the spiritual ideas and concepts of all others. To honor the worth and, of course, beliefs of all others can be quite difficult, quite daunting. It's a balancing act, just like that guy you used to see on TV that had all those plates on the sticks, trying to balance so many things at the same time. How can we each be okay with so many possibilities of everybody else, so many viewpoints? It's hard to imagine a balance, a simple balance of regular religion, just the balance of how do I live my life between heaven and hell. But honoring the spiritual ideas, needs of everyone, that is a grand challenge. I was, frankly, when I became a UU, I was dismayed with the very first committee that I joined, it seemed that not much was getting done. Now I look back and see that they were trying to get everybody in agreement before action was taken. And I see how difficult and daunting a project, a balance that really is. I also see how worthwhile it is. And that is a much greater balancing act than having strict rules. We as UUs have committed to accepting everyone, and that is a huge job. We've committed to accepting color of skin, financial ability, a person's mindset, social and religious and political beliefs. That's a lot of accepting. We're trying to have a balance with so many plates in the air. It is very complex. We must participate, think, love, forgive, accept, if we're trying to be an ideal UU. All persons, cultures, ideas are valid. Equality and justice to all. We Unitarians have committed to make space in our hearts for all. This is an impossible or very difficult balancing act, one that each one of us has committed to working on, much like the way we breathe in and breathe out. It's our life's work. As Unitarian Universalists, we have committed to an ongoing balancing act. Compassion, justice, and love for our earth, all its plant and animal inhabitants, and all of humanity. I suggest each of you sit back and take a few more deep breaths. Take stock of this commitment that you have made. Proceed forward on your Unitarian journey. How can this journey fit in with family, work, and all my other commitments? It's all about the balance. Remember to keep breathing. And now, Sue Penny.
Thank you, Tuna. Okay, we invite you to remain in the sanctuary for informal conversation after this worship is over. There's also a computer that's set up back by the collection baskets so that those of you in the room here can visit with those at home on Zoom. Sue, will you read our closing words? Thanks.
Our closing words are from Dr. Seuss. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. If you are visiting, please sign our virtual guest book using the link in the chat, and someone from our Care and Connection team will be in touch with you. If you are in agreement with our values, our mission, and our UU principles, we hope you'll find a home here. Please extinguish the chalice together with words that may or may not be on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you.
If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes and look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, oh, yesterday's gone. Why not think about times to come, not about the things that you've done? If your life was bad to you, just think what tomorrow will do. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone, oh, yesterday's gone. All I want is to see you smile, if it takes just a little while. I know you don't believe that it's true. I never meant any harm to you. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, oh, yesterday's gone. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone, oh, yesterday's gone. Don't you look back. Oh, don't you look back. Don't you look back. Don't stop. Thank you.